Maya had always been careful about strangers. Living alone in her small apartment in Portland, Oregon, she liked her quiet evenings. But on one chilly Friday night, that quiet shattered with a knock she didn't expect. It was 7:45 p.m., and the rain had started pouring harder, drumming against the windows. Maya peered through the peephole and saw a young woman, soaked and shivering, holding a small duffel bag. Something in her eyes tugged at Maya, a mix of desperation and fear. Maya hesitated. She wasn't sure if it was safe, but something told her this woman wasn't dangerous. She opened the door a crack. "Are you okay?" Maya asked, voice soft but steady. "I'm sorry to bother you," the woman said, her voice trembling. "I just needed a place to wait out the storm." Maya studied her for a moment. There was a vulnerability there that made her heart ache. She stepped aside. "Come in, quickly, you're soaked." The woman stepped in and shook her hair dry. She looked around nervously, as if expecting someone to burst in. "Thank you," she whispered. I'm Emily." Maya handed her a towel. "Maya, it's okay. Sit down. You'll catch a cold if you stay wet like that." Emily took the towel, draping it over her shoulders. She avoided eye contact, fiddling with the straps of her bag. Maya noticed her hands were trembling. "Do you want some tea? Coffee?" "Tea, please," Emily said. Her voice was quieter now, almost like she was trying to make herself small. As Maya boiled water and prepared 2 cups, she couldn't shake the feeling that Emily's story was complicated. She didn't press, though. Some things needed time. They sat across from each other at the small kitchen table. Steam curled from the cups, filling the room with a gentle warmth. For a while, all that could be heard was the rain outside and the soft clink of the teacups. Emily finally spoke. "I wasn't sure where to go tonight. I didn't want to be alone, but I didn't have anywhere safe." She paused, swallowing hard. "And I saw your lights on." Maya nodded, understanding more than Emily could know. Sometimes a little help goes a long way. Emily's lips curved into a small, grateful smile. There was something fragile about it, yet strong. Maya felt a strange pull toward this stranger, a mix of concern and curiosity. They talked quietly, sharing fragments of their lives between sips of tea. Emily's story was incomplete, scattered with pauses, but Maya could tell she had faced more than her years suggested. Something about the rain, the night, and the unexpected encounter made the room feel suspended in time. It wasn't long before Emily sighed, leaning back in her chair. "I don't even know why I knocked on your door," she said softly. "I've never done this before." Maya smiled faintly. Sometimes the right door is just the one you find when you need it the most. The clock ticked on. Outside, the storm raged, but inside, there was a fragile sense of safety. Maya realized that helping Emily wasn't just about shelter from the rain. It was about being present, listening, and caring when someone needed it most. Emily looked around the small apartment, eyes lingering on the photographs of Maya's life, the cozy little touches. "You have a peaceful home," she said quietly, almost to herself. Maya felt a warmth that went beyond the tea in her hands. "Thank you, I try." She studied Emily, noticing the shadows beneath her eyes, the tension in her shoulders. "You can stay here until the storm passes. It's okay." Emily nodded, relief washing over her face. For a moment, neither spoke. The sound of the rain filled the silence, but it was a comfortable silence, not an uneasy one. As the night deepened, Maya felt an odd mix of anticipation and anxiety. Something about Emily's presence was shifting the rhythm of her life, though she couldn't yet put a finger on how. There was a story in Emily's eyes that had yet to be told. And in that quiet, storm-lit apartment, a connection began that neither of them could have predicted. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. The door was closed, the rain still falling, and Maya suddenly wondered, how much would her life change before the night was over? The rain didn't let up. The sound of it against the windows was almost hypnotic. Maya poured herself another cup of tea, while Emily wrapped herself in the towel, staring out at the streaked glass. "Do you want to talk about why you were out in this weather?" Maya asked carefully, not wanting to push too hard. Emily shook her head, biting her lip. I shouldn't. It's complicated." Her voice was soft, almost fragile. "But maybe I need someone to listen." Maya nodded. "Then I'll listen. No judgment, no questions unless you're ready." Emily's eyes flickered to Maya's. There was something in that gaze, a combination of fear, longing, and relief. Slowly, she began to speak. Her voice was tentative at first, then steadier as the words came. "I was running from a situation I didn't know how to handle," Emily said. "I thought I could figure it out on my own, but tonight I realized I couldn't." She swallowed. "I didn't have anywhere safe to go." Maya kept her eyes on Emily, feeling a pull she hadn't expected. There was vulnerability here, yes, but also courage. The kind of courage it takes to knock on a stranger's door in the middle of a storm. Emily shifted, curling her legs beneath her on the chair. "I don't usually do this, ask for help, but something told me you'd understand." Maya smiled faintly, a warmth spreading through her chest. "Sometimes we just know when someone can help. Or maybe we just hope we do." The two women sat in silence for a few moments, listening to the rain. The storm outside seemed to mirror the storm inside Emily, a mix of fear, uncertainty, and hope. Maya's mind wandered as she looked at Emily. She couldn't remember the last time she felt this curious about someone she'd just met. There was a story in Emily's eyes that she wanted to know, but she also knew the story would reveal itself in its own time. Emily's voice broke through Maya's thoughts. "You make it look easy, being calm when everything else is chaos." Maya shrugged. "I've learned. Sometimes you just have to be the calm, even when the world isn't." She noticed the small tremble in Emily's hands and reached out instinctively. It's okay to not be okay. Emily looked at her, eyes wide, almost as if she hadn't heard those words in a long time. The air between them felt heavier, charged with something neither could define yet. After a while, Emily pulled her knees closer, hugging them. "I'm scared of what tomorrow will bring," she admitted quietly. Maya reached for her hand. It was a small gesture, but it meant more than words could say. "Then let's just focus on tonight. We'll figure out tomorrow when it comes." The storm outside raged, but inside, the apartment felt warm, protective. Maya realized that helping Emily was no longer just about shelter from the rain. It was about creating a space where someone could breathe, even if just for a little while. Emily looked up, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I don't know why I came here," she said softly. Maybe it was fate." Maya couldn't help but smile at that. "Sometimes fate works in small, quiet ways," she said, "like a knock on a door during a storm." For a moment, they just sat there, the sound of rain filling the silence. Maya felt a strange connection forming, a thread between them that was fragile yet undeniable. She didn't know where it would lead, but she sensed that tonight would change both of them in ways they couldn't predict. Then, without warning, The small apartment shook with a sudden crash. A gust of wind had slammed the door from the outside. Both women jumped, hearts racing. That sounded close, she whispered. Maya stood and moved to the door, checking the lock. It's fine, just the wind, she said, though her own pulse hadn't slowed. Emily exhaled shakily, her hands still trembling. I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't expect anything, really. Maya turned to her, heart tightening. Sometimes the unexpected is the only thing that teaches us who we really are. Emily nodded, her gaze lingering on Maya's. I feel like tonight is going to change something, whether I'm ready or not. And in that moment, as the storm continued to rage outside, Maya realized that Emily wasn't the only one whose life was about to shift. Something had begun between them, something fragile, unpredictable, and deeply stirring. The rain slowed, but the tension remained. Both women knew that what happened next would define the course of the night. The storm outside had softened to a gentle patter, but inside the apartment, the tension lingered. Maya poured herself another cup of tea, and without thinking, she made one for Emily, too. It was a small gesture, but it felt important. Emily took the cup, holding it like a lifeline. Her fingers trembled slightly, not from the heat, but from something deeper. Nervous anticipation, uncertainty, or perhaps the lingering fear of the storm. You've never had anyone just listen? Maya asked gently, trying not to pry, but curiosity tugged at her. Emily shook her head slowly. I don't know. Not like this. Not someone who sits quietly, who lets me speak without judging me. Her eyes met Maya's for the first time without hesitation. You make it feel safe. Maya smiled faintly, a warmth spreading in her chest. Sometimes that's all people need, just a moment of safety. Emily's gaze lingered on her, searching, hesitant. I never thought a stranger could offer that. Maya shrugged. Maybe we're not strangers. Maybe just people who found each other at the right time. Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning neither of them could define. They sat quietly for a while, sipping tea and listening to the softened rhythm of the rain. Outside, the city lights blurred behind the rain-soaked windows, painting the night with soft, golden streaks. Inside, the apartment felt suspended in time, like a safe little bubble that belonged only to them. Finally, Emily spoke again. I'm scared. I don't know what comes next, but I know I can't stay where I was. It wasn't safe for me. Her voice cracked slightly. I didn't know where else to go. Maya reached out, placing a hand over Emily's. Then stay here tonight. Tomorrow, we'll figure it out. You're not alone. Emily's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She nodded, clutching Maya's hand gently. I think I've been carrying so much, and I didn't realize how tired I was, how lost. But being here, it feels like a beginning. Maya felt her own heart tighten. There was something about Emily's presence that stirred emotions she hadn't expected. Compassion, protectiveness, and something quietly tender that neither of them could name yet. For the next hour, they talked in fragments. Stories half told, pauses filled with quiet understanding. Emily shared bits of her life, the challenges she faced, and the ways she had tried to survive on her own. Maya listened, offering small reassurances, never pressing, letting Emily's words flow like the rain outside. At one point, Emily paused, staring at the floor. I didn't think anyone would ever notice me. Really notice me. Maya shook her head gently. You're not invisible. You're here, and you matter. And tonight, I want you to know that." Emily's eyes found Maya's again, and there was a spark in them. Fragile, hesitant, but undeniable. "Thank you," she whispered. "I didn't think anyone could care like this." Maya smiled, a quiet warmth spreading through her chest. Sometimes care comes from the most unexpected places. The two women sat in a comfortable silence for a while, the storm outside giving way to a softer drizzle. But just as the night seemed to settle, there was a knock at the door, a sharp, urgent sound that made both of them jump. Maya's heart raced. "Who?" she started, but the knock came again, more insistent. Emily froze, her hands clutching the teacup tightly. "Please, don't let anyone in," she whispered. Her voice trembled. "Not yet, not tonight." Maya nodded, her protective instincts kicking in. "I won't, I promise." The knocking stopped suddenly. Silence returned, but the tension didn't fade. Maya moved toward the door cautiously, peering through the peehole. Outside, the hallway was empty, the dim light flickering. When she turned back, Emily was watching her, eyes wide with unspoken fear. "It's okay," Maya said softly, though she wasn't entirely sure herself. "Maybe it was just someone passing by." Emily exhaled shakily, leaning back in her chair. I hope so. I can't. Not tonight. Not after finding this place. This calm." Maya felt her own heart clench. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but tonight she knew she had to protect this fragile moment, this connection that had grown between them so unexpectedly. As the night deepened, Maya and Emily sat close, the quiet between them charged with emotion neither fully understood. Something had begun, a bond, a trust, a fragile sense of hope that neither had anticipated. And outside, the city slept, unaware that in a small apartment on a quiet street, two lives were quietly shifting forever. The night had grown later. Outside, the drizzle had turned into a gentle mist, painting the streets with a silver glow. Inside the apartment, Maya and Emily sat closer now, tea forgotten, hearts still racing from the earlier knock. Emily hugged her knees, staring down at the floor. "I didn't think anyone would ever care enough to listen, or to just let me be." Her voice was barely above a whisper. Maya reached out, brushing a stray strand of hair from Emily's face. "You're not invisible anymore. Not here, not tonight." Emily looked up, eyes meeting Maya's. There was a vulnerability there that made Maya's chest tighten. "I've spent so long hiding," she admitted. "Hiding from people, from my life, from myself." Maya nodded. "We all have our shadows. The key is finding someone who'll sit with you in them." For a while, neither spoke. The soft hum of the city outside and the faint ticking of the clock filled the silence. It was a comforting quiet, yet heavy with unspoken words and emotions. Then Emily took a deep breath, the kind that carries both fear and courage. "I don't know what comes next," she said. "I've made mistakes, and I've run from a lot. But tonight feels different. It feels like maybe I can start over." Maya felt a spark of hope. Starting over doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just one small step. Tonight, this moment could be that step. Emily smiled faintly, the first real smile since she arrived. It was fragile, yet it carried a promise. "I want to believe that. I really do." The air between them shifted, a quiet intensity building. There was an unspoken understanding forming, a connection that went beyond words, built on trust, empathy, and the shared need for safety. Maya stood and moved to the window, pulling back the curtain slightly. The mist hung over the city, softening the edges of buildings and streets. "It's strange," she said, more to herself than Emily, "how one unexpected knock can change everything." Emily followed her gaze, silent for a moment. Then she spoke, her voice low and thoughtful. "I've always felt like life was something to survive, but tonight, maybe it's something to live." Maya turned to her, caught off guard by the depth in her words. "Maybe it is," she said softly. "Maybe it finally can be." A silence fell, heavy but comforting. Then Emily's eyes dropped to the floor again, and her hands fiddled with the edge of her sleeve. "There's something I haven't told anyone," she said quietly. "Something I've carried for a long time. I'm scared to even say it out loud." Maya stepped closer, placing a reassuring hand on Emily's shoulder. "You can tell me. I'll listen. No judgment." Emily took a shaky breath. I left someone behind tonight. Someone who I can't explain. I needed to get away." Her voice faltered. "I don't know if I did the right thing. I don't know if I did the right thing." Maya's heart ached for her. Sometimes leaving is the only way to protect yourself. You did what you had to do to survive. That's not wrong. Emily's eyes glistened, tears threatening to fall. "I never thought someone would understand that. I never thought anyone would care." Maya gave a small, reassuring smile. "I care, and tonight you're safe here." The clock ticked softly, each second deepening the bond forming between them. Emily's tension slowly eased, though the shadows of her past still lingered. Maya could see it in her eyes, but she also saw something else, a spark of hope, fragile yet undeniable. Just as Maya was about to suggest they try to rest, there was a soft sound from the apartment's hallway, a faint creak, almost like someone stepping lightly. Both women froze. Emily's hand gripped Maya's arm. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, voice tight with fear. Maya nodded, heart pounding. "It's probably just the building settling, but let's stay alert." She moved cautiously toward the door, peering through the peehole. The hallway was empty, no one. Yet Emily's unease didn't fade. She turned to Maya, eyes wide. "I don't know as I can handle anything else tonight," she said, voice trembling. Maya stepped closer, pulling her gently into a comforting hug. "You don't have to handle it alone. Not now, not ever tonight." For a moment, the world outside ceased to exist. The storm was gone, the city quiet. All that mattered was the fragile, growing connection between them. Two women brought together by chance, by need, and by a night neither would forget. Emily rested her head lightly against Maya's shoulder, finally allowing herself to breathe. Maybe tonight was meant to be," she whispered. Maya held her a little tighter, heart full of a mix of protectiveness and something she hadn't expected to feel for a stranger. "Maybe it was," she agreed softly. And as the mist hung over the city, outside lights reflecting like scattered stars, both of them felt it, the start of something new, fragile yet real, and full of quiet possibility. But just as relief settled over them, a faint, unfamiliar sound echoed through the apartment, something that neither of them could have anticipated, something that would change the night entirely. The sound echoed again, a soft thud, barely noticeable, but enough to make both Maya and Emily jump. Their hearts pounded in unison as they froze, listening. "It's probably nothing," Maya whispered, though her voice lacked conviction. She moved cautiously toward the living room window, checking the darkened street below. Empty, silent, no signs of anyone. Emily clutched the edge of the sofa, eyes wide with anxiety. I just can't handle surprises tonight. Her voice trembled, but there was trust in the way she leaned slightly toward Maya, relying on her. Maya exhaled and turned to her. Then let's not. Let's focus on the here and now. You're safe, I promise. For a moment, the two women sat side by side, letting the quiet fill the room. Outside, the city lights reflected off puddles, soft and golden. The night felt endless, yet strangely comforting, like the world had paused just for them. Emily's voice was barely above a whisper. I don't know why I came here. I didn't plan anything. I just knocked, and everything changed. Maya smiled faintly, her heart tightening. Sometimes life works that way. One small act, a knock, a choice, can shift everything. Emily's gaze softened. I never thought I'd find someone who would care, someone who would just be here. And yet, you're here. Her voice broke slightly, filled with gratitude and something else, a tentative hope. Maya reached for her hand. And I'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow we can figure out everything else, but tonight we just exist in this moment. Emily squeezed her hand gently. I think I've been carrying so much for so long, and tonight I feel lighter, just a little, but it's something. They sat in silence, sharing the warmth of their connection, a fragile trust that had grown stronger with each passing hour. The storm was gone now, replaced by the soft hum of the city at night. Emily leaned her head on Maya's shoulder, sighing softly. I didn't know I needed this. Needed someone to just see me. Maya's heart ached with both protectiveness and an unfamiliar tenderness. You're seen now, and you're safe. That's what matters tonight. Hours passed quietly, the city outside asleep, while inside, a new chapter quietly began. The fear and uncertainty of earlier had faded into something else, a shared understanding, a connection that neither expected but both needed. As dawn approached, the first soft light filtered through the curtains. Emily stirred, sitting up slowly. Her eyes met Maya's, filled with a quiet determination. Thank you, she said simply, her voice steady now, for everything last night. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel changed. Maya smiled, warmth spreading in her chest. Sometimes words aren't necessary. The feeling itself is enough. Emily nodded, standing up and stretching lightly. I think I'm ready for what comes next. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I can face it. Maya felt a swell of pride and relief. You can, and you won't have to do it alone. For a final moment, they stood together in the quiet apartment. Two lives intertwined by chance, by courage, and by a night that neither would ever forget. Emily smiled, a soft, genuine expression that lit up her face. This was unexpected, but I'm glad it happened. Maya nodded, feeling the same truth. Me too. Sometimes the right things happen when we least expect them. Outside, the city woke slowly, the streets glistening from the remnants of the storm. Inside, two women shared a quiet, unspoken understanding, a bond formed in vulnerability, trust, and the simple act of being there for one another. And in that small, storm-washed apartment, both knew something had shifted forever. A night that began with uncertainty had become the start of something neither of them could have predicted, yet both would cherish. For Emily, it was the beginning of safety and hope. For Maya, it was the reminder that reaching out, even to a stranger, could change everything. And as the morning sun filtered through the windows, they both smiled, knowing that some nights, unexpected, uncertain, and full of emotion, had the power to transform life in the most beautiful ways. The storm had passed, but its mark lingered, a quiet promise that connection, trust, and unexpected kindness could create something extraordinary. The night was over, but the story of two hearts finding each other in the quiet of a storm would stay with them forever.